Yes, did you
Meghan
watch the
Markle.
interview? Did you watch all of it?
I watched the back end of it. I missed at least an hour of it. I was kind of
Yeah.
caught up in something else, but I tuned in from when they were talking about I think Baby Archie,
Mm,
or just before that. So it must have been like an hour in. So I watched the last hour of it, and it was
okay.
pretty mad to hear. Yeah. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it on Saturday night. I watched
Oh,
it
you
when
did,
it
did
was
you?
on what do you call it? CBS.
Yeah. You
I
watched the whole
streamed off
interview, yeah?
that. Yeah,
What
had
do you
to,
think
man.
now? What's your opinion of what's happening here, though? Because obviously there's always been a shield protecting, the royal family and all that type of stuff. So to
See,
get someone
to
who's
me,
actually
yeah,
come from there,
yeah.
yeah,
To me, I seen this because I've been on Twitter the last like two days now, and I'm not like kind of glued on it, just seeing everyone's opinion in it. I haven't got in some argument with some woman the other day, yesterday, should I say, on Twitter, and then she blocked me.
already.
Cancel culture. But what's it? She not her, sorry. I seen someone tweet that in this country, anyway, not so much America, but in this country, you know how everyone is like loyalists or royalists,
Yeah,
patriotism or whatever you call it. Yeah. He said that I don't think that there is patriotism and loyal to the royal family. It's just to the queen. So he thinks that once the queen is gone, I'm not praying she goes because obviously she's elderly. She's what 90 something now.
96. I don't know the numbers.
Yeah,
I'm
her
just going to
time's
go with
coming.
96. Yeah,
Her
it's,
time's coming. Yeah.
it's going to be that. Yeah.
So I don't mean no disrespect to all these loyalists,
Mhm.
Brexiteers. They're gonna come at me, but her time's coming. Does that mean that when Charles becomes king, if he even becomes king, because he might just vacate the throne, because what it'll be king for what 10, 15 years max, maybe 20 if he's
If that.
lucky.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he might just vacate the throne straight to William. Will there then be a rearranging of the royal family?
I don't
Because
think so
then
because,
William's got his secrets already. Charles has his secrets already. At least
yeah,
when the Queen came into power, she was, I don't want to say squeaky clean, but she was virtually squeaky clean.
I don't know the inner workings of the royal families, I'll say, because I'm not like, oh my God, yes. To
Yeah,
me,
I'm not even
it's
like
make no difference in it. It's like
just a family to
they're
me.
there,
Yeah,
innit? But I'd imagine if that ever happened in a situation where she dies, and then is it Charles?
yeah, Charles.
Yeah, him doesn't want to do it. What the situation might be is there's always a certain fraction of people in this country, obviously, that are sort of like very loyal
Yeah,
to the monarchy. So we'll just call them as a one big group, monarchy. So
mm,
not about names or who's doing what. Royal family is royal family, and that's it. It's probably going to stay like
yeah,
that until, I don't know, we all die or something. So I'd imagine there's always going to be people who's going to be putting, what's the word, reverence on top of that, and always will sort of like support that type of thing.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
don't
I get
know.
what you're saying.
I mean, that interview coming out yesterday is kind of almost as if what people kind of sort of thought, because obviously it's a royal family. It's going to be squeaky clean, is it? I mean, there's some
I
shady
mean,
shit in there,
nah. I
obviously.
mean, I'd say 50% of the world knew that already.
Yeah, it's kind of
You
like,
had those people that are
okay,
still sort of no, impossible. That can't be. The Queen does so much colonialism with the British, the Commonwealth. Do you know what I mean? That's still
yeah, but
implicated in their brains. Do you know what I mean?
in every monarchy or superpower, there's always going to be some shady stuff happening in the background.
Of course,
It's
of
just a fact
course.
of life, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
So I think it's probably the first time we've heard from someone who's actually come from within,
yeah.
come out and say it, rather than us from like him from like newspapers going, is it true or is it not true?
No,
This one is kind of like,
an
oh,
active
you grew up in
prince,
that thing,
an active prince actually came out and exposed
and I
them. Do you
just
know what I
said,
mean?
oh shit, all right, okay, this is how it's happening. I was like, okay, it's kind of almost like a confirmation because I'd imagine,
Yeah,
I think we kind of sort of divided on what we think about the royals. Some people don't like them, some people like them, or some people love them. It's
mm,
always been like that. But obviously that one was a bit mad. I mean, the hour I listened to, I was like, okay,
Mm.
right. To me, the most striking thing about it was about the skin color of Archie, though. That's the one
That
that
didn't
got me.
surprise me.
That got my. I
That didn't
mean,
surprise me at all.
it's not
It did not surprise me
surprising,
at all.
but it's kind of like as if people actually like, say that. Well, I'd imagine they'll say anything they want behind Buckingham Palace or
Mm.
Windsor, wherever they live. They'd probably say openly in it, like Charles, it's gonna be black or whatever they say, black, one of those
Yeah,
guys. But it's kind of like exposing what the inner workings of behind closed doors, how they do things. So for them to sort of judge a little kid before they're even born to be like, oh shit, okay, all right, that's how you're gonna start going. So again, that makes you start to think though, if someone said it because they released a statement about an hour ago, I don't know if you've seen it.
the Queen released one that they're
Yeah,
taking
there's a
it, the
statement. I think I
investigation or
read it
whatever.
on investigation on whoever said it, or there's no names mentioned in it. But I'd imagine it's him saying that makes it kind of sort of look to other people like, well, whatever they're doing in front of everyone else is a bit of a front, really, isn't it?
Mm. So that's the thing, yeah.
Essentially.
That didn't surprise me at all. The thing that stood out for me, yeah, was the mental health.
Hmm.
That's what stood out for me because I feel like the world we live in right now, the society we live in right now, mental health is like the number one issue in the world universally. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So you have obviously your racist and your obviously you're non-racist, but they both tend to agree on mental health.
Hmm.
You have your people that fight for like human rights, gay rights, all that kind of stuff, and the opposite of that, but they seem to agree on mental health. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So for them to kind of turn her away for mental health, especially with what happened to Diana as well. I'm not saying that she had I don't know. I wasn't born then when
Yeah.
she died, but the way that the media kind of got onto her and seeing that happen again to Megan, it's like, are they trying to create a part two to this? Like, a
Well,
lot of it could have been avoided.
I mean, it's with very powerful people, anything can happen. They kind
True.
of twist the story to make it what they want it to come out to be. So, I mean, we're the
Mm.
ones who kind of sort of look at it and then read it. Obviously, there's an inner working behind the scenes. It's all, I think, it's a
That's what
pretty
he said. He
obvious
said
fact.
there's like an invisible
Yeah,
contract
it's
between the
always
royal
like
family and
invisible
the press.
contract. Like behind the scenes, there's always people plotting and making the narratives come up the way we kind of see it in public. So of course, I think the way is, I mean, there's always two sides to every story. So obviously, the
100%.
interviews come out, they might come up with a completely different version of what's happened because I mean, it's TV, it sells,
Yeah.
isn't it? So I don't know. Unless until they actually respond to what's being said in there properly, and no one knows. I mean, because I'm
No,
not
it's
going to
true.
pass
It's
myself up in an interview when say I was in the royal family. It's a long
yeah,
shot. Yes, I say I was right, and I left because I met a girl, and then we had to do this and that and that. Of course, when I come in front of the cameras now, and we try to justify why I've done that,
yeah.
because I think he's probably the second person to leave after his mum, and you all know what happened to his mum,
Well,
right?
no, because remember they had a remember the queen's dad shouldn't even have been the king. He was only
Mm-hmm.
the king. Yeah, I heard about this a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure his older brother or one of his brothers anyway basically vacated the throne because he married an American and they didn't know how the public would take it. The British public would take it, so he vacated the throne, and then
Yeah,
that passed on to the queen's dad. So the queen
it's
isn't
fine.
like wasn't really in line. Yes, she's a direct descendant from Victoria or whatever, but her bloodline aren't really in line to become the king because her uncle, in a sense, vacated the throne to her dad.
Hmm. But
Again,
I mean,
because he wanted to marry American. Do you know what I mean? So it's a case where the whole it's not the first time that it's happened, and it won't be the last time.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, I think I'll try to put myself in Harry's shoes right now, right? We've
Yeah.
grown up in a life where you sort of kind of everything is controlled about your life, really, isn't it? Like what you eat or what you do, how your life's gonna progress is always like controlled. I'd imagine it'll be controlled, isn't it? Like in
Mm.
a normal sort of royal family. That people even do that in normal families, not with that no title or anything. So he probably got fed up of it first. Because he used to be like the one who was always out doing things and stuff, innit? We used to read the newspapers and stuff.
Mm.
So Bob just had enough, innit? Like just live your life, innit? You're a human being, got feelings, emotions, try new things. But I'd imagine in that type of setting, you've got to sort of live your way in a set way. Okay.
Yeah, think
Like
about it. He's not going to be king realistically,
it's not, but
unless there was some sort of mad event that happened and whole wiped out the whole family. He's not going to be king.
yeah.
So he's always just going to be like a reserve. It's the spare. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's got a
Why would I
title
want to?
though.
He's got, yeah,
You're
but
better
titles
than
don't
at
mean anything.
least. Yeah, but you've got a title. You're at least in the 1%, as we call them, right?
Yeah,
You,
but
you
just because you're in the
you've
one
got to be in.
percent, he's already been like painted as by, I'm not saying all media, but certain parts of the media already paint him as like, I put him as the spare one in a sense. Do you know what I mean? Any little
Mm,
thing that's come up has, even though when you think about what he's done in the last, like, let's say 10 years, what he's
mm,
done, obviously like going into the military and then fighting on the front line as well. Putting on, if you look at all these like interviews that these people from the army and that had, the Marines, I think it is, when they've lost like legs and arms or whatever, and Harry keeps in contact with them. He's helped them like mentally, done all this kind of stuff. So he's done a lot more than what William has done. The only thing I know William doing is being in the RAF.
So do you think then it's purely because he's got an American wife now? So it's kind of sort of veered off from, I don't know, call it family line or whatever, because we don't know how things are sort of arranged. I'd imagine sort of like kept pretty close in
Yeah,
there. Without throwing any allegations there, because I don't. I'm not going to say it and pretend like I know
yeah,
anything.
yeah, of course.
But I'd imagine she's obviously an outsider, clearly an outsider,
Hmm.
right? Because if she's a British girl, people like, okay, do you know what? Just deal with it. Like what they done to Kate. Kate,
Yeah.
you know, so because
Well,
she's an
no, to me,
American.
she's weird. She's weird. Kate's weird. No, 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 no. She's weird. Yeah, I've always thought that, and I just feel like people are so hung up on her because she's gonna be queen. And I'm just like, if you actually remember this woman, this is the woman, yeah, that is it her university she changed or her university course she changed just to
Mm-hmm.
be in the same class as William.
So she's on
She
the
stalked
power
him.
grab thing.
She stalked him. Do you know what I mean? She stalked him.
You
So
reckon you say up?
I don't think it's set up here, but I reckon have you
She
noticed
saw
how
it coming.
nothing bad has ever come out about her?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Goody two shoes. So she's always probably wants to be in that
Exactly.
situation then.
Exactly.